Hey there, I'm Julie. Just turned 30 and life's kicking off with a new gig at the central office of the ad agency where I've been busting my butt for the last 8 years. This promotion? Feels like finally hitting a long-awaited jackpot. Life wasn't always handing out wins though. Growing up, my mom was tough as nails, not the nurturing type. After Dad passed away, she sort of checked out, hooked up with some young guy, and the next thing you know, my sister Sarah and I were pretty much on our own. Today, I walked into the shiny central office, my heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. The place was buzzing like a beehive, screens flashing, phones ringing, and keyboards clacking, a symphony of the grind, you know? My boss, Mr. Carter, was another story. Picture a guy who looks like he's never cracked a smile in his life. First thing he said to me wasn't even a hello. He just looked me up and down and grunted, "Hope you're as good as they say. We don't have room for slackers here." "Thanks, I'll do my best," I replied, trying to keep it cool while thinking, great, this dude's gonna be a joy. The office was my new battlefield. I set up my space, a tiny desk with a view of the brick wall next door, prime real estate, right? But hey, it was mine. I was ready to dive in, make those ads that people can't stop talking about. Sarah called me during lunch. Her voice was a little escape in the middle of the corporate chaos. "How's the first day in the big leagues?" she asked. The boss seems like a piece of work, but what's new?" I sighed, popping open my salad box. "You've handled worse. Just show him what you're made of," she encouraged. "You know it. How's Lily?" I always checked in about my niece. That kid was like the daughter I never had. Singing her heart out as usual. I'll send you her latest video. She's got talent, Julie. The rest of the day was a blur of briefings, meeting the team, and trying not to let Mr. Carter's sour attitude get to me. When I finally packed up to leave, the office was almost empty, just the cleaners left doing their rounds. As I stepped out into the cool evening air, I felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. This was it, the next chapter. And no matter how tough the boss or how long the hours, I was ready to make it count. For me, for Sarah, and heck, for Lily too. I wasn't going to let anyone down, not this time. If anyone ever tells you the first day at a new job is the hardest, they haven't stuck around long enough to see the second. Today at the office was proof enough that things were just heating up, and Mr. Carter was at the center of this inferno. I got in early, armed with a strong coffee and a thicker skin than yesterday. My desk was still in disarray, papers here, files there. It looked like a tornado had a dance party. I was sorting it all out when Mr. Carter strolled in, his eyes zeroing in on me like I was the bullseye on a dartboard. "Julie, this campaign for Del Monte's, it's not hitting the mark. Redo it. I want fresh ideas on my desk by tomorrow morning," he said, dropping a file thick as a brick in front of me. His tone wasn't exactly what you'd call friendly. "Understood, I'll get on it right away," I replied, keeping my voice steady. No way was I giving him the satisfaction of seeing me sweat. The rest of the morning was a blur. I plowed through the Del Monte's campaign, sketching out concepts, tossing half of them, and sketching some more. By lunch, my trash bin was a crumpled paper cemetery. No biggie, this is what I signed up for, right? I barely noticed the time until my stomach growled loud enough to compete with the chatter around me. I grabbed my lunchbox and headed to the break room, hoping for a quick escape from the madness. That's when Tina, one of the graphic designers, waved me over. "Hey, Julie, rough morning with Carter, huh? Saw him dump that workload on you," she said, sympathy written all over her face as she bit into her sandwich. "Yeah, he's got high expectations. Just gotta roll with it," I shrugged, trying to sound more confident than I felt. "Just watch your back, okay? He's notorious for being tough on the newbies. Thinks it weeds out the weak or something," Tina muttered, her eyes darting around like she expected walls to listen. The afternoon was a marathon. Meetings back to back, with barely a minute to breathe. I was running on fumes by the time 5 p.m. rolled around, but quitting time was a joke around here. Mr. Carter made sure of that. He called me into his office just as I was about to shut down my computer. "Julie, let's see what you've got for Delmonts," he said, not even looking up from his screen as I walked in. I laid out my ideas on his desk, explaining the concepts and how they could really resonate with our target audience. He flipped through them, his face unreadable. "This is better, but it's not there yet. Rework this and this." He pointed at two of the designs, his finger jabbing at the paper like it owed him money. "Will do. I'll have them updated first thing," I said, collecting the rejected designs. My skin was getting thicker by the minute, or maybe I was just too tired to care. Walking out of his office, I couldn't help but think about what Tina said. Mr. Carter was testing me, all right. But I wasn't about to let him, or anyone, break me. I've dealt with worse. Much worse. Tomorrow, I'd come back, ready to fight another round. Because that's what you do when you're not just working for a paycheck, but for a purpose. For every Sarah out there counting on me. Yeah, tomorrow is another day, and I'm just getting started. The day started just like any other. I swiped my badge at the office door, coffee in hand, bracing myself for another round with Mr. Carter. But that morning, my phone buzzed with a call that turned my world upside down. "Is this Julie Sullivan?" a serious voice asked when I answered. "Yes, speaking. What's up?" I said, trying to balance my phone between my shoulder and ear as I booted up my computer. "This is St. Mary's Hospital. It's about your sister, Sarah. I'm sorry to inform you that she suffered a heart attack this morning. She didn't make it. We need you to come to the hospital to handle some formalities." I stood there, phone still pressed to my ear, the buzz of the office fading into a distant murmur. Sarah, gone? It felt surreal, a bad dream I might wake up from. I managed to mumble a thank you and hung up. My hand shook as I grabbed my purse and headed to Mr. Carter's office. He was on a call, looking annoyed as usual. I knocked, and he waved me in, not missing a beat in his conversation. "It's my sister, Sarah. She passed away this morning. I need to leave," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. He stared at me, his expression softening for a split second before hardening again. "Look, Julie, personal issues are your own. If you start taking time off every time something happens, I might as well find someone else who can commit." The harshness of his words stung, but I was too numb to react with the anger I felt bubbling inside. I rushed out of his office, out of the building, barely noticing the blur of the city as I hailed a cab to the hospital. At the hospital, the reality of the situation hit me hard. I signed papers, nodded through condolences, and somehow made it through the motions. Then I remembered Lily. School was almost over, and she'd be wondering where her mom was. I left the hospital and made my way to her school. My heart pounded as I waited outside, watching the gate like a hawk until I saw her familiar little face. She smiled when she saw me, skipping over in her usual carefree way. "Hey, Auntie Julie. Did Mom send you to pick me up?" Lily asked, her backpack bouncing as she hugged me. I took a deep breath, the words stuck in my throat. "We need to talk, but let's get you home first, okay?" We reached her house, and I fumbled with the keys. Once inside, I sat her down and took a deep breath. "Lily, something very sad happened today," I began, my voice trembling. Lily looked up at me, her smile fading as she sensed the seriousness of my tone. "What is it, Auntie Julie? Where's Mom?" Her voice was small, scared. I took her hand, squeezing it gently. "Lily, your mom, she had a very bad heart attack today. She didn't make it, sweetheart." Lily stared at me, her eyes wide, uncomprehending at first. Then, as the reality sank in, her face crumpled, and she burst into tears. I pulled her into my arms, holding her tight as she sobbed. After the initial shock and the blur of hospital visits, reality kicked in hard. I was not just Julie anymore, I was now Julie and Lily's guardian, protector, and suddenly the only adult in our duo. I sat at our kitchen table, papers spread out like a war map, legal documents, custody forms, and a stack of bills that Sarah had left behind. My phone buzzed with a reminder of a meeting with the lawyer in an hour. At the lawyer's office, Mr. Hanson, a graying man with gentle eyes, greeted us. "Julie, Lily, I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Let's make this transition as smooth as we can for you both." We discussed guardianship, the house, and Sarah's few assets. It was all so businesslike, so cold, yet necessary. Mr. Hanson handed me a stack of forms. "You'll need to sign these for the custody proceedings, and there are some financial matters to settle. Lily's care is the priority." I nodded, scribbling my signature where he pointed, feeling each stroke of the pen like a step into unknown territory. The next few days were a blur of funeral arrangements, meetings, and late-night Google sessions on how to be a guardian. Lily was quiet, her usual bubbly self muted by grief. I tried to keep things normal, but our small talk felt hollow. The weekend brought more responsibilities. I met with Sarah's boss, collected her final paycheck, and sorted through her personal items at her desk, a collection of photos, a half-used notebook, her favorite pens. Returning home, I found Lily sitting on the porch, her guitar in hand, strumming a tune that was too sad for her years. "Hey, you play beautifully," I said, sitting beside her. She smiled weakly. "Mom taught me. She said music helps when things get tough." "It does. Maybe you can teach me one day," I joked, trying to lighten the mood. Lily laughed, a sound so rare these days it was like music itself. "I'd like that." Lying in bed that night, I stared at the ceiling, thinking about the road ahead. It was daunting, terrifying even. But looking over at Lily, sleeping peacefully, I knew I had to be strong. For her, for Sarah, and maybe even a little for myself. It was then I realized I hadn't told Mom about Sarah. Pulling out my phone, I dialed her number, the rings echoing in the dark room. Finally, she picked up, her voice breezy and distant. "Julie? What is it?" "I'm on vacation in Hawaii," she said, irritation seeping through her tone. "Mom, it's Sarah. She passed away 5 days ago," I said, my voice breaking. There was a pause. A long, chilling silence. Then, "Well, that's your problem, Julie. I'm busy here. Did she leave anything behind? Any insurance, property?" Her words stung, harsh and cold. I was shocked, my heart sinking further. "No, Mom. Just forget it." I hung up, feeling a mix of anger and despair. That was the last straw. Sarah's funeral came and went without her. I barely thought of her after that. I focused on Lily, found a nanny to help out, and took custody. Adjusting to life with Lily was no easy task. Every morning was a race against the clock, getting her ready for school, ensuring I had all the documents for another round of custody forms, and then the mad dash to work. Each day, I could feel the tension mounting at work, the disapproving glances from Mr. Carter growing sharper. Then, one dismal Tuesday, it all came crashing down. I walked into the office, the morning buzz unusually tense. Mr. Carter called me into his office as soon as I arrived. The look on his face was all I needed to see. "Julie, this isn't working out," he said bluntly, his voice devoid of sympathy. "Your personal situation is affecting your performance, and we can't afford to carry dead weight." I stood there, numb, the words echoing in my mind. Fired. Just like that. My thoughts raced to Lily, our rent, food, her schooling. Panic set in. The walk home was a blur. My mind was a mess of fear and worry. How were we going to survive? What would happen to our little family now? These questions pounded in my head with each step I took. When I got home, Lily was there, a look of surprise crossing her face as she saw me. "Aunt Julie? What are you doing home so early? Is everything okay?" I sighed, the weight of the day's events settling around my shoulders. "No, honey, it's not okay," I admitted, sitting down heavily. "I lost my job today. I don't know what we're going to do." Lily's eyes widened, her face filled with concern. She chewed her lip, thinking. Then, without a word, she disappeared into her room. A moment later, she came back, holding her backpack. It was stuffed with bills. She poured out a mountain of dollars onto the kitchen table. I stared in shock, never having seen so much cash at once. "Lily, where did this come from?" I asked in a whisper, afraid of the answer. "It's my money, Aunt Julie," Lily said proudly. "I earned it by singing. Mom helped me set up a YouTube channel a few years ago. I've been posting my songs and videos there." She pulled me over to her computer and opened her YouTube channel. It was filled with videos of her singing, each with millions of views and hundreds of comments praising her talent. The subscriber count was in the hundreds of thousands. I was floored. My niece, who I thought was just dabbling in music as a hobby, had turned it into a lucrative venture. "We won't have to worry, Aunt Julie," she said, her voice muffled against my shoulder. "We can use this money. I can help." That moment changed everything. The despair I felt was lifted by a wave of relief and pride. Lily wasn't just a kid with a hobby, she was a talented artist who had taken her future into her own hands. "All right, Lily, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right," I told her one morning as we sat down with a notebook full of plans and ideas. "Your channel is amazing, but we can make it even better." Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement. "What do you mean, Aunt Julie?" "We're going to invest in some better equipment for you to record your videos. And maybe even get you some professional singing lessons," I explained, feeling a buzz of excitement myself. Lily bounced in her seat. "Really? That would be awesome. Do you think I could really be like one of those famous singers?" "I don't see why not," I replied, grinning at her enthusiasm. "But we have to be smart about this. We need to set up a budget and maybe look into some marketing strategies to grow your audience." The next few weeks were a blur of activity. I used some of the money from Lily's channel to buy a decent camera and microphone. We set up a little studio in her room, draping sheets to improve the acoustics and setting up lights. Every evening after dinner, Lily would record, and I'd sit at the computer, learning how to edit videos and manage a YouTube channel. We also started looking into vocal coaches, and soon Lily was taking lessons twice a week. Her coach, Ms. Nora, was a kind but firm woman who had once had a career in opera. She took Lily under her wing, and the progress was evident. "You're a natural, Lily," Ms. Nora told her after a particularly good session. "Keep this up, and you'll go far." Lily beamed, and I felt a swell of pride. Not just in her talent, but in her dedication. She was working hard, balancing school and her passion for singing without a complaint. As her channel grew, so did our confidence. I started experimenting with different types of content, integrating fan suggestions, and even arranging a few live streaming sessions for Lily, which were a hit. Her fan base grew, and with it, the revenue from her channel. One evening, as we reviewed the month's earnings and expenses, I realized we were actually making much more now than I had been at my job. It was a strange and exhilarating feeling. "Look at this, Lily. You're doing it. You're really doing it," I said, showing her the spreadsheet. Lily hugged me tight. "We're doing it, Aunt Julie. You're the best manager ever." "I'm just following the boss's orders," I teased, ruffling her hair. Several months passed in this manner. Things were looking up, we were not just getting by, we were actually thriving. Then one afternoon, as I was sorting through the mail, a legal notice caught my eye. It was a custody petition from my mother. My stomach churned as I read through the cold, formal language, outlining her intent to claim custody of Lily. Frustrated and a bit scared, I called my mother to confront her about it. I decided to record the conversation, just in case. "Mom, what's this about you trying to take Lily away from me?" I asked as soon as she picked up. "Listen, Julie, Lily is a budding star, and you know it. With her talents, she'll be rich, and you know I've got a young husband now, and we need the money. So, this is just about money for you?" I asked, although I already knew the answer. "Think as you want," she said. Then, she dropped a bombshell. If you give me $200,000, I'll drop the custody case. Think of it as an investment in keeping your little family together. I was stunned into silence. The audacity of her blackmail was unbelievable. Her laugh at the end of the line before she hung up only added salt to the wound. I immediately called my lawyer and relayed the conversation, forwarding the recording I had made. We can use this in court. It's clear manipulation and blackmail, my lawyer assured me. We prepared the case meticulously, gathering all evidence of Lily's happy and stable life with me, her academic records which showed her thriving at school, and testimonies from neighbors and friends about our family life. Walking into the courthouse, my heart was hammering in my chest. The stakes couldn't have been higher. Across the room, my mother and her husband looked smug, as if they'd already won. The courtroom was silent as the judge called the session to order. My mother was first to take the stand, her performance worthy of an award. Tears streamed down her face as she spun a tale of woe, claiming I was exploiting Lily for her talents. She's just a child, Your Honor, my mother sobbed, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. My granddaughter should be playing, not working. I want to ensure she has a normal childhood. It was my turn next. My lawyer stood, calm and collected. Your Honor, these claims are not only unfounded but are a deliberate attempt to manipulate the situation for financial gain, he stated confidently. He laid out document after document, each proving that Lily's involvement in her YouTube channel and performances were well within legal bounds, that she was excelling in school, and that her emotional and physical needs were being met, if not exceeded, under my care. Then came the moment that turned the tide. My lawyer played the recording of the conversation I'd had with my mother. The courtroom was dead silent as her voice filled the space, detailing her demands for money and her plan to use Lily as a means to secure it. The color drained from my mother's face as her own words betrayed her. The judge's expression hardened as he listened, his pen pausing over his notes. It was Lily's turn to speak. She stood up, her small frame resolute. I love my Aunt Julie. She takes care of me, she makes me happy. I want to stay with her. I don't want to go with my grandmother, she said clearly, her voice steady and sure. The judge nodded, taking in her words, then made his decision. Custody will remain with Ms. Julie Sullivan. The petitioner's claims are dismissed on the grounds of attempted financial coercion and lack of genuine concern for the child's welfare. My mother stormed out of the courtroom, her dreams of an easy payday crumbling around her. As we left the courthouse, Lily squeezed my hand tightly. Are we okay now, Aunt Julie? Is it over? She asked, looking up at me with wide, hopeful eyes. Yes, Lily, it's over. We're more than okay, I assured her, my relief immense. Life settled into a wonderful routine after that. Lily's YouTube channel blossomed under her continued passion for music and singing. She performed at local events, her confidence growing with each applause. Her joy was infectious, and it spread through every aspect of our lives. We transformed one of the rooms into a small studio, where she could practice and record in peace. I took charge of the managerial duties, ensuring she had the right balance between her career and her childhood. The community rallied around us, their support unwavering. Financially, we were stable too. The earnings from her channel were more than sufficient, allowing me to set aside a substantial amount for her future education. I want you to have every opportunity, Lily. Whatever you want to study, wherever you want to go, I told her one evening as we reviewed some college brochures. Lily hugged me tightly. I know, Aunt Julie. Thank you for everything. I'm going to study music, I think. And maybe business, so I can manage my own career one day, like you manage me. Her words filled me with pride. We had come through so much, turned so many corners, and now the path ahead was bright with promise. We were not just surviving, we were thriving, building a future on our terms, with love and music at its heart. As we sat in our living room, the setting sun casting warm glows through the window, I realized that this was what happiness felt like. It wasn't just about overcoming the challenges, but celebrating the victories, big and small, along the way. And as Lily played a new song she was working on, her voice filling the room with melody, I knew that the best was yet to come. We had each other, and that was everything.